Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WCS European Season 3 Championships. I am Jeff In Control Robinson today, filling in for Paul Redeye. His sister's getting married, so, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't laugh at that either. I don't know what that is. But thank you for that, Paul. I get to take your job for the weekend, so I appreciate it. This is the audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Well, you didn't tune in, but you guys at home tuned in, and we really do appreciate it. We know there's a lot of esports going on, but we've got 8 of the best representing the European region here at WCS, and they're about to kick off, but we've got some introductions and some things to talk about. And one of those things to talk about is the round of 16. How did these players get here? Let's take a look right now. You can see up there, there is our 8 players at the top, and we've had a few upsets, if I could say so myself. Thorzane, one of the last Swedish finalists, champions even, didn't make it in. And we see Targa topping Wellmu and Happy, 2 of Europe's best. Pretty amazing. But, ladies and gentlemen, these top 8 are going to fight for that final spot. So we've got some introductions to do. Join me as I walk about 15 feet over to one of our analysts for the weekend. It's going to be this little fellow over here. You might know him, might recognize him. Grubby, how the heck are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing really well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got a great weekend ahead of us. We've got some analysis coming out of you. I understand you're going to commentate as well. What are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
Fantastic StarCraft games. It's going to be really good. And of course, I'm just going to be casting it. It's going to be a really easy job because these players are playing so great. So there'll be a lot to learn, a lot to enjoy, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So also, if you want to join us on that discussion this weekend, make sure and follow us on the social media. You can hashtag WCS, or you can follow ESL TV on Twitter. We also have a Facebook fan page. Make sure and like that, and that'll get you all the access you need to join in on that conversation going on all weekend long. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the brackets, and we're going to talk a little bit about that first match. You can see there are 8 players, Grubby.
Yeah, I mean, really strong grid. We've got 5 Koreans this time, starting off with Genius against duckdeok, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to be 2 of those Korean Protoss players doing battle. And duckdeok, of course, the defending champion. Genius coming up here for the first time, doing really well for himself. We've actually put together some videos to introduce these players. Our first up is going to be Genius. Let's take a look now.
한국에서 살고 경기도 의정부라는 곳에 살고 있고 나이는 23살이고 종족은 프로토스를 플레이하고 있습니다.
There are still force fields left from this point. Genius can warp in some more units. He comes through a very nice position. Great time warp. Great extra 2 force fields there. Extra 3rd one that traps all those roaches. Zerkers do break their way through here, but it's already over. GG and Genius will take map number 1.
일단 어느 분야에서든 높은 자리에 있으려면 천재성이 필요하기 때문에 그 천재성이 저한테 있으면 좋겠다고 생각을 해서 지으게 됐어요. 일단 축구를 하고 싶었는데 집에서 반대가 너무 심해서 혼자서 알아서 할 수 있는 게 게임이었기 때문에 컴퓨터 하나만 있으면 되니까 그래서 컴퓨터 게임을 하게 됐어요.
This is the dream start here for Genius coming into this series. Looking at going into the winners match already, a very fast series. Nurcho comes in, force wheels get planted. These Immortals are not getting touched anytime soon. GG, excellent execution. Game 1 and Game 2 from Genius.
무조건 가는 건 말이 안 된다고 생각을 하는데 그래도 생각은 하고 있어요. 정말 열심히 준비를 해서 다 때려잡고 꼭 갔으면 좋겠어요.
He has to evacuate his natural. He has to go back up the ramp. The SCVs are going to try and hold here, but that's still a lot of firepower he has against 1 Marauder and 2 Marines, one of which just died. He had a few more coming out now. He's trying to wall all this off, but force fields completely seal off this bunker. That dies off. And now all he has is really SCVs and 6 Marines to combat this.
Yeah, 4GG is like, where's the air support? And someone points up and the sky is empty.
GG. Genius advances on to the round of 8 in double quick 2-0 fashion.
스타트를 잘하는 건 그냥 아까 말했듯이 천재성? 그런 게 좀 각 분야마다 있기 때문에 그게 저한테 좀 있는 것 같아서 그래서 잘하는 것 같고.
A nice little video about Genius.
God, I love that interview.
I think it's only in Korea where your parents could not want you to become a professional athlete, so you say, okay, I'll be a StarCraft 2 programmer anyways, and then that seems to be more okay.
I feel like a lot of German StarCraft players are going to be thinking, man, I wish I had parents like that. Like, no, you can't be a soccer player. Why don't you do something responsible and professional like pro gamer? He's like, all right.
Yeah, poor guy. Well, that was the awesome video on Genius. Of course, he is a free agent out there, so if you guys are out there looking for a possible champion, that could be something to look at as well. He's got that message. That's one of the strong things he's saying here. Now, our next player in this duo is going to be the defending champion, duckdeok. Let's take a look now.
우선 전 시즌에 처음 유럽 리그에서 유럽 프리미어 리그에 임했을 때는 아무 부담 없고 연습도 많이 부담이 없다 보니까 연습도 많이 안 하고 그랬는데 이번 시즌은 확실히 저번 시즌 우승자니까 연습량이 확실히 늘더라고요. 꼭 이겨야 된다는 그런 생각이 계속 들기 때문에 그리고 또 현장에서 경기할 때 환호 소리도 좀 많아진 것 같아서 엄청 좋기도 한데 더 부담스러워요. 제가 우승자인지 그냥 우승을 했는지 안 했는지도 잘 모르겠어요. 근데 통장에 상금이 찍히니까 알겠더라고요. 그냥 컨디션도 그렇고 운이 많이 따라준 것 같아요. 그리고 팀원들이 다 알려주고 빌드 같은 것들도 코치해주고 해서 우승할 수 있었던 것 같아요. 게임적인 면은 그냥 빌드 같은 거 손에 익히도록 계속 반복 연습만 하고 마인드적인 연습은 부담감을 최대한 낮추려고 노력하고 있어요. 그냥 제가 변화를 좋아해서 그게 장점이자 단점인 것 같아요. 그냥 블리즈컨 참가하는 것만으로도 만족할 것 같아요.
So duckdeok, before he came to the World Championship Series, he was a Korean that didn't really achieve anything in Korea. He then made the move to at least attempt to come to the World Championship Series in Europe. Played online in the round of 32, didn't look that impressive. All of a sudden, he transformed into this player who was undefeatable. So duckdeok just went from nothing to everything. Making it to BlizzCon is everything for every single player. He can be a contender. I think he was still coming to it as a relatively underdog, but there is a glimmer of hope maybe.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Genius and duckdeok are two players for this first round. Taking a little bit of a closer look, Grubby, both these players are very, very strong Protoss players in this PvP matchup. Who do you give the edge to? Who do you think is the one to look for coming out of this best of 5?
That's a really hard question, Jeff, but it's a good question. I'm trying to base it a little bit on my own experience. I played against them both. Played against duckdeok in Season 2, where I lost with a 2-3 score, and it was pretty close, but what I really felt came shining through from his play was daringness. Like he was very daring in choosing his build orders, and a lot of the strategies he did, they were not on my, let's say, list of normal strategies which you can choose from. But then you have Genius, and I lost him 1-2 in this season, and we had 2 macro games, and he cannon rushed me 1 game, which shows that he will do anything to try and win. But I don't have as much material to judge Genius on as duckdeok because it was a shorter series. And if I judge purely from the games I played against them, I would say duckdeok seemed a little stronger, but there's also time in between the two. So it's very interesting to see how have they developed themselves leading up to this round of 8. And also, if I go to judge Genius's play by the experiences last week, he was one of the 2 players I felt like that didn't really get challenged in his round of 16 group. Vortex was one, and Genius was the other. They both did a 4-0, and none of the games looked hard. So I think it's going to be a really fantastic game, and I think it's going to go 3-2 for either one, because PvPs are almost never 3-0, because there's a lot of different strats you can do, and some might work pretty well.
I have to agree with you. I do prefer the 3-2. The closer the series, the more exciting it is for us fans to watch. Both these players are known for their aggression. They're both very micro-oriented players. I myself have a ton of fun watching the two of them play because they make what seems to be basic strategies that I do at home look just so much easier. It's really amazing. But on that regard, which player do you give the edge in terms of battle micro? Because they're both really known for it. Do you think one distinguishes themselves over the other?
I think probably Genius has a slight edge in decision making. I think that's his biggest strength. And I think duckdeok maybe has a slight edge in micro. But how these two skills face off against each other, it really depends on how the game goes. It's very situational, so I think it's very close between them anyway.
Very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an exciting match. Both these players are really driven. Duck has the pressure of being the previous champion, like you said, and Genius needs a team, so he's trying to make a show here for you guys. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head over to the commentary team of Caleris and Apollo.
Thanks very much, Jeff and Grubby, as we now gear towards the first best of 5 of the day. Genius versus duckdeok, and for me personally, this could go either way.
I mean, I don't know which way this is going to go down at all, but for me personally right now, I'm very excited to be a part of WCS Europe Premier League. This is the last weekend.
Yeah.
It's coming to an end. It is a little bit sad. We've had 3 seasons so far. We have 2 fantastic days incoming. And this is where it all begins between these 2 players. And I just want to point out before we get into the map vetoes, this is a now best of 5, not 3. So the vetoes has changed up a little bit.
Yeah, we only have 1 map veto per player. Duckdeok vetoing first as he is technically the higher seed. Season 2 champion, that kind of awards him a pretty good seed going into Season 3.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have a challenger in Genius who vetoes Whirlwind. But to be honest with you, Genius is a very strong contender for the entire tournament. Never mind surpassing Duckdeok.
2 very similar things with the maps that we've got vetoed out is both of the maps, Derelict Watcher and Whirlwind, have very open middle maps.
Yes.
So
yes.
Whirlwind is very large in the center of it. Likewise is Derelict Watcher. That could be something that is going to be kind of making the series interesting because all the other maps are kind of filtered down a little bit more. So we could see maybe Colossus-based strategies and so on. But if we look at these 2 players and who the hell they are, both of them have been playing StarCraft for a very long time, since the beginning, StarCraft 2. duckdeok, of course, never really had success in the individual team leagues, but he's been a great player for MVP from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Genius was the first BlizzCon champion back in 2010, a very, very long time ago, and was the most consistent Protoss players in the GSL through 2011 and 2012, even getting to a final. And now here they are meeting together, but it is duckdeok, the one that would come into this a little bit more favored maybe because he is, as you said, the reigning champion of the Europe Premier League.
Yeah, very cool for him in Season 2 to build that entire championship basically on Protoss versus Protoss, right? So he comes in against Genius with that behind him and even, you know, taking MC to the very brink in that grand final. And here's our map pool as we have Frost, Yonsu, Belshir Vestige, Polar Knight, and Akalon Wastes to wrap things up.
Yeah, so 5 maps here, and it is going to be a best of 5 as mentioned. And Grubby did say something very smart. We very rarely see 3 zeros in a PvP because the strategies are so diverse. You can change it up from the get-go to the middle to the end. It doesn't matter where, but it's never, ever really one-sided. And here we do have duckdeok, the current reigning champion. He won it all last season, but one thing, he must keep his emotions held back once again like he did in Season 2. He must play some of the best StarCraft that he's played in his life here because Genius, in the round of 16, oh boy, did he look good.
He certainly did. 2-0ing Nurture and 2-0ing 4GG as well. In PvP, you know, he's been able to do very well in the past as well. These statistics here, again, that's over the 100% are over like 2 or 3 series in the WCS system, but still been very, very strong performances from him, winning over again, someone like Grubby in PvP, who took a very good stance in Season 2 all the way to the very end.
Yeah, I mean, 100% win record, right? It's obviously fantastic to look at, but the sample, as you said, isn't that large.
Yeah.
But if we just forget about the numbers right now and look at the 2 players that we have about to go head-to-head in this best of 5, they've known that they were going to play each other for a while now. And that's the beautiful thing about a Protoss mirror, especially in a best of 5, is because strategies and builds will change from map to map. And of course, they know each other, they'll find out each other's style. And here is the first map. Frost is going to open us up here.
Yeah, and as it says, it's one of the larger maps. So this could give us the potential of a bigger, longer game, but still that doesn't kind of shy away from those early aggressive moves that we see in Protoss versus Protoss. Somebody could just come straight out of the gate with something a little bit more unpredictable. Because, you know, in the first map of best of 5, you're trying to maybe feel your opponent out, but they've known for so long that they are playing each other, as you said.
But the one thing is that Genius came in to the World Championship Series this year in Europe as a unknown when it comes to his builds and strategies. we didn't know what to expect from him in the round of 16. We kind of knew in the round of 32 because he was playing from Korea. That really filters your strategies down. These two, by the way, they are bantering between each other in the game. You can see both of them having a bit of a giggle. But again, I still feel it's the same, even though not as exactly the same. But Genius comes into this as, what the hell is he going to do?
Exactly.
In a best of 5, you need, duckdeok in this case, you need to figure out and feel your opponent out. You need to know how he's playing. Is he aggressive? Like we saw in the round of 16 where we did see Genius play super aggressive.
Yeah.
Is he going to play more defensive? Is he reactionary? All these kind of types is how duckdeok must read into this first game.
And there's so many options available here going into this first series as well. So now we can get into our first game of the day as we have this best of 5 going down. Our first mirror matchup of the round of 8. And if there's any leftover later on, as duckdeok and Genius face off, and spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner are Red Protoss, the current reigning WCS Europe champion. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for MVP duckdeok. And down to the bottom right-hand corner are Blue Protoss, arguably the challenger in this series, representing Korea. Give it up for Genius.
Wow, a lot of support for this guy. Is, like mentioned, pretty old school, to be honest. 2010 BlizzCon champion. And the amount of round of 8s, round of 16s, round of 32s that he accomplished in 2011 and 2012 within the GSL, you know, the hardest league there is. Yeah. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Was regarded for a long time as, you know, one of the most consistent Protoss players that there'd been throughout that time. Even though you had big hard hitters like MC that were tournament winners then, consistency is very different. And he was always there. He was always doing well.
Exactly.
Was in the GSL almost every season.
There were like 5 or 6 seasons where he was doing pretty well, and then obviously hitting that finals. And again, I come back to it as one of the most fun finals I've ever seen in StarCraft, where they were just teasing each other, him and Don Regu, which was a lot of fun. Remember that very fondly. But now, into this game. Gateways at similar times. We have assimilators going down at similar times, so not massive deviations just yet.
No, it's going to be very hard for you know, us to predict exactly how they're going to go, because this is a first game of a series. As the game develops on, it's easier to kind of see patterns. But from here, anything is possible between these two players. They've both taken the assimilators fast. That means their gas income, depending on how many probes they have in each, can be rather high. And as we see, we have, is it 3, I think, on one of them, and actually 3 in both here for Genius. That is increasing his gas income a lot, which means he can tech rather fast here. But likewise, duckdeok, 3 in one, 2 in the other, just 1 probe difference. But definitely looking at some form of 1-gate tech at the moment by the looks of it.
Yeah. And looks like he's going to head off for that scout up to the top left-hand corner, so he's going to end up scouting his opponent last here. Again, important to remind you that on Frost, all spawning positions are available. So these guys scouting out where they can. Genius on the way up to the top right as well. So no advantages there just yet for either player.
Yeah, with a sentry coming down from Genius, they've both taken double gases, right? But they've both thrown down 2 gateways. That's a chrono boosted out sentry. You usually see, a lot of the times from a chrono boosted out sentry, expansion-based play. Yeah. Because you're able to save up force fields, or energy, should I first of all point out, on the sentry, for force fields, or for hallucinated Phoenix. Yeah. And on the other side, I mean, 2 gateways just come down from duckdeok at the moment, but Stalker first, which is a big difference.
That certainly is. And, you know, we have the Twilight Council actually going down for Genius as well, and I wasn't really expecting this.
I wasn't either here. And, well, he's going to be going over to this. What do you think? You think DTs or Blink?
From looking at it, I think DT more than anything, but... Because DT nowadays in PvP, I feel it's a pretty safe option. I mean, obviously it's nowhere near as expensive as it was in Wings of Liberty, and even if you don't do crippling damage with it, you can still play out of it pretty well.
Well, duckdeok is going to go for his regular build that we saw so often in the round of 16 here and previous. It is just going to be this 2-gateway expansion, but it is, as you said, the Dark Shrine coming in for Genius. The Mothership Core says, well, there's a Twilight Council. Oh, looky, there's a Dark Shrine. And so immediately what we'll see from duckdeok is just the retaliation of throwing down the robotics facility. He needs detection, he's seen what his opponent's going for, and immediately throws it down. And to be honest, he's in a pretty good position right now. He has a much faster Nexus.
Exactly.
There is a pylon down there to obviously walk the DTs from, but this has already been spotted.
Yeah, this is a great little spot here by duckdeok. And he realizes his opponent doesn't have any anti-air there, so he can just sit around and maybe kill off a few probes as well.
He's got 2.
This is really, really good start here from duckdeok in this series.
Well, there's Clarus, there's nothing to shoot up at the moment.
No, that Mothership core is like hanging around for the Photon Overcharge, and using Photon Overcharge on the Nexus alone at this point is not what Genius wanted to be doing at all.
Yeah, and he's actually just sacrificing the Mothership core here to get as many probes as he could, and he got 4, which is a pretty good start here. And then all he's got to focus on, and a Sentry too, sorry. So what he's going to focus on now with the robotics facility, get the Observer down, make sure DTs don't come in. And the jobs are good in for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind this too much because there's not really a whole lot he needs the Mothership core for right now, right? I mean, he knows that there's not massive amounts of gateway aggression coming because he saw the Twilight Council and Dark Shrine being invested into. He makes a few Stalkers, he'll know I'll have similar amounts of units. And just throwing force fields down for good measure here to deny Dark Templar. But he's sitting pretty right now.
He's sitting pretty, but we do see Genius without the Dark Shrine, and he has gone over to Zealot Charge. The expansion has now been spotted here. duckdeok spotted Genius's expansion, so he knows where he is in the game. And to be honest, we do have duckdeok with a lead. Just through the 2 openings, 49 supply to 41, and a little bit of a better harvest account there. Just 3 extra probes. And a lot of Chrono Boost going into these Nexus now for both players. They both are going to throw down the gases and start to tech up here. Immortal production has begun for duckdeok. Genius from this position, though, with such an early Zealot charge. Where do you think he can go from this? Does he throw down maybe the Templar Archives fast? Does he go straight over to Archons early? Does he try to get a robotics facility down of his own?
If he goes for really fast Archons and just goes Archon Zealot Charge and tries to deal with a very heavy Immortal count, do you think that that could work against his opponent?
I don't think so. Not when duckdeok's so actively scouting here to find out what his opponent's doing. We see the robotic space thrown down for duckdeok. He's scouted out his opponent and has just seen 3 gateways and some upgrade for his units. The Templar Archives has come down here, but obviously we're going to see a lot. And it's actually proxied.
What?
That's in a very interesting location here. Look at the observers, just a couple of pixels away.
Keeping an eye out for warp prisms.
And he is throwing down more gateways here. Look at that. Genius may try to do this, but the thing is that you just asked, if he tries to go for something like this, and you said, can it work? Is usually no, because it's going to get spotted nice and early. But look at this. We do have units already on the other side. There's 30 supply to 16. Genius is trying to build up a tech, but he actually doesn't have any units in defense.
Yeah, this could go horribly wrong for him, especially if the force fields are good. But actually, duckdeok decides to retreat home.
Yeah, he saw extra gateways being added on the natural. He's already seen 3. He saw at least 2. So he now knows, oh, my opponent's playing kind of aggressive at this point. So he comes back. He's got his Colossus on the way. And all you need to do is be defensive. He's now just made a hallucinated Phoenix in the middle of the map. He's trying to look for it. What is it? Is it just a weird gateway timing with an upgrade?
And he sees a bit of this army.
He doesn't see many gas units, and he knows his opponent's on 4. He's building the cannon. I'm pretty sure that's going to be on his natural here.
Yeah.
3 gateways he spotted.
He won't know about the Archons until the very last second by the looks of things. Where are the High Templars? They warped in near this Twilight Council, I believe. So he's not going to know about them for a long time. So he doesn't realize how much he doesn't have in terms of space control, but he does have 1 Colossus out, but he doesn't have Thermal Lance just
yet. Does that Observer see anything? It sees a pylon be made. He knows it's coming, but he's already started to make a wall off with 3 gateways at this point on his natural. He's got 1 Colossus out. He's adding on another pylon here to even filter more down this kind of way. He's got Photon Overcharge. He has a Time Warp as well as the Photon Overcharge.
Yeah, I like that. He knows it's Zealot heavy.
If this doesn't work for Genius, there's +1 attack done, there's Colossus done, there's a Twilight Council coming in. Everything duckdeok has to go long game is there. He just needs to survive this attack.
He even has the really good defensive setup. These 3 Archons, they're going to try and crush through. Let's see how much they can actually do eventually once this push comes. Hallucinate Phoenix pokes in, sees exactly what he has in his opponent's army, keeping a High Templar for feedback for a Mothership core if he sees it.
Yeah, well, Photon Overcharge has been activated on the natural here. And 2 Colossus on the high ground, going to be very, very difficult to touch. He basically has no long-range units at all. The Archons are going to get close. There's a counter-attack from duckdeok at the same time here. Genius does warp in a couple of Zealots to deal with it, but But duckdeok's just saying, all right, there's no problem, it's actually fine.
Whoa, and Genius, he feels as if he can't do this anymore. He sees the defensive position, so he goes back to 2 Stargates. This is a very interesting play from Genius in game number 1.
Yeah, well, he's switching his tech completely up, right? He's trying to catch his opponent by surprise.
Yeah.
He's got +1 attack done, he's got 2 Stargates, but there's a long time before this transition can work. There is obviously an opportunity here for duckdeok to do something, but what has duckdeok seen? Nothing yet. But you know what's great against air units is Archons. And that's the next part of the units that we're going to see come from duckdeok soon. He's got the Templar Archives on it. He's got +2 attack on the way. He can probably take a 3rd base, start to save his gas for his Archons. But we do need, well, duckdeok needs to scout this to kind of, know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, feel it out a bit.
Or he could get surprised by this.
Well, he's got the Warp Prism on the way with the Dark Shrine as well. So he's trying to catch his opponent off guard with that. And interestingly enough, Genius right now doesn't have a Robo facility, right? So
Yeah.
he could actually do quite a bit of damage with those Dark Templars if he catches his opponent off guard.
Yeah. That's a really good point you bring up there. He's got no detection at all.
No.
As in none.
Yeah.
None.
He
None
could
at
make
all.
an Oracle, right? But,
Yeah, and this is, you know, obviously Genius is in a bit of a bad position through how this game's unfolded so far.
Oh, and this is a shame. He's going to lose his Templar archives. That's the risk of trying to hide it away from your opponent for that long.
These DTs are going to, I mean, are we going to see some morphed in here straight away? He's got no detection at all.
Yeah, he could do a lot here with this.
I mean, this could be just game over, because what we'll have to see from Genius is a push out here, like...
And the Void Rays are going to have to do far more damage than they could ever do. Well, unless he kills the Warp Prism before they drop. But nope, that is not the case.
And he's like, I don't have any units to spot this.
Yeah, he needs
and
to start the
immediately
Oracle.
builds an Oracle.
And he does there. The Void Ray is going to head over to the left. He wants to keep them hidden for as long as possible. The Warp Prism, ooh!
But his opponent doesn't, well, duckdeok doesn't know that there's no detection, so he is playing this rather conservative from here. But I think he saw the Void Rays, did he not?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think he's trying to. I think Genius was trying to hide them. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll see.
There's 5 of them out now, and they have +1 attack.
Yeah.
There needs to be Archons made here for duckdeok to deal with this. I actually thought the DTs would do a lot more than they didn't do.
There was the opportunity, but yeah, as you said, he was playing safe, right? He was just sitting back, making sure he wasn't sacrificing anything. But +3 weapons is on the way, Apollo.
Yeah, that's obviously very, very good. A lot of gateways coming down as well. So Genius hasn't decided to move out yet, which means these 6 gateways will complete, which will allow for a better backup of units. But still no information on the Stargates.
Well, did the Dark Templar just see the Oracle when it was at third base?
But does he know that this is mass Void Rays?
I don't think so. He's been doing a really good job keeping them hidden,
Okay,
that's for
so
sure.
he's seen Void Ray production begin now. So we should see Archons also start to begin. All the gas needs to go to Archons here, and all the minerals need to go to pretty much Zealots, to be honest.
Yeah, this is...
cannons as well.
duckdeok needs to make a very, very efficient army against what his opponent's throwing at him, because if you allow these Void Rays to just have free reign of the battle, you are going to lose as duckdeok. He doesn't have that much anti-air out right now.
I think duckdeok may get surprised here.
I think
he's like, oh, you've just now started Void Ray production when there's already a lot of Void Rays out already.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have enough anti-air at this moment.
This really could turn around on its head. duckdeok was in a very good position, but...
He's got to be careful here. He hasn't found out about the Void Ray count.
This is
And there's 9. There are 9 Void Rays here.
That's so much damage. Those Stalkers aren't going to last long at all. And he's warping in more Zealots. One more Archon warping in, but I think he needs more Stalkers with this.
Well, Stalkers aren't that good against Void Rays. He needs
anything.
Archons. Archon's the best thing here. And he's now going to see it, and he's like, oh.
That's a lot of Void Rays chasing him down. Guardian Shield's up for Genius. He's going to continually pursue this, realizing his opponent doesn't have much anti-air. And duckdeok knows he's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
He has to get out of here fast.
Time Warp slows this down, so he is now going to go back and start making even more Archons here. It's the best thing against this high Void Ray count, and he needs to spend all his gas there. He's even going to get Storm to try to get splash damage down onto them. So it's like double splash damage to Storm and the Archon hits. But right now, this is very scary. Genius now knows that duckdeok is starting to prepare. Obviously, he's going over to Archons and Storm. Genius, this obviously is his best time before his opponent's properly ready. He wasn't ready, he just moved back.
I feel that Storm's the big game changer, though, as opposed to Archons, because Archons have a hard time getting past all of those Zealots of Geniuses. I mean, yes, he has Colossi, but they're still going to buy him quite a bit of time, right, before they can even get in range. So this is going to be scary. Genius is almost maxed out here against duckdeok.
+3 is ready versus just +1.
Oh, that's true.
Attack. It's a massive difference. Even though the army supply is in favor of Genius here, the attack upgrade's pretty damn good.
Oh, good time warp. A lot of free volleys off with those Colossi, but the charge forward does occur here, so this is going to force duckdeok to actually go for the
ready.
engagement.
Storm's not done.
Oh, he really needs that Storm once this goes down, but he's continually kiting on. And there we go. There's the time warp, slowing down a few of those Archons. They go down.
Storm is almost ready. He needs it.
He absolutely does. Can he get it out in time?
It's done, but can he get the right Storms off?
If he just separates up these Void Rays a little bit, the anti-air is not there available for duckdeok right now.
The High Templar in the wrong positions.
Oh, this is going to be catastrophic for him unless he lands some really good Storms, but they're not them right now.
No, he's got no anti-air, Claris. He's actually dying.
Oh, these Void Rays absolutely ruling the roost, and Genius has taken a significant supply lead here in the first game. The Colossi, they have nothing to do. They're running away. They can't do it.
This is just scouting to the T. How important is scouting in StarCraft 2? That game proves it all.
Darn important, Apollo.
And Genius, even though for the majority of the game was playing from a weird position because of how the openings were set up, hide something that wasn't scouted until the very end, and unfortunately for duckdeok, there just simply wasn't enough time on his behalf to get ready for the amount of Void Rays that he ran into.
And that game really shows that in a match like Protoss versus Protoss, even if your initial plan isn't working out and you feel a little bit behind, don't give up. Just go for something, try it out, and, you know, he made it work with his opponent's slip-up.
And of course, Genius should win the game with Void Rays, his favorite unit after all.
Void Rays is pretty good. He likes those Void Rays.
And there was the second map that we'll be going over here, but the reigning champion has been hit hard in game number 1. This is a best of 5. He's lost map number 1. He has looked vulnerable this season. He's lost a couple of games. But this is the most important of them all. And it was a very simple mistake on his behalf. He just didn't see it coming.
In the round of 16, Titan took a map off him in PvP, but aside from that, he was looking pretty stable up until now, where the scouting wasn't quite there. And we'll see if when we load up into game number 2 on Yonsu of all maps, what's going to happen. This being the second map, I won't be surprised if Genius actually cannon rushed.
Wouldn't be surprised, man. But I think that may be a little bit too predictable.
True.
But would he do it? Would he do it?
We'll see now as we get into game number 2 between duckdeok and Genius in this PvP to open up day 1 of the finals for WCS Europe. As we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner our red Protoss. Currently 1 game down in this best of 5. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for MVP duckdeok. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Protoss, representing Korea, loving them Void Rays. Give it up for Genius.
A good start for this man in hunt of a almost impossible goal, which is to go to BlizzCon. He's currently ranked 72 in the World Championship Series point system. He would need to win first place here. And if he won first place, Kolaris, that still only puts him about rank 25.
Yeah.
And that's still outside the top 16. He needs a strong performance. He needs to get to the season finals. He needs a good performance there. And as he said, step by step, game by game, maybe there's a chance. But look, Genius, you called it. This is a very predictable style. This is how he beat Grubby, but he's looking for an easy win. He is going to cannon rush in this location down here. The gateway's in a good position. If you'll see actually any units that come up and build a pylon gateway, I mean a pylon or cannon on the high ground, but on the low ground, is he going to scout down there?
He was scouting the probe. Oh!
No! Oh no, he sees it! duckdeok sees it!
Oh, very well done by duckdeok.
Early on in that, duckdeok's like,
Oh, I feel duckdeok's pain and actual sigh of relief in essence because this happened to me yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, well, and I didn't scout, unfortunately, but he knows now. He knows the pylon's there.
He knows it, and he's seen the probe now come from that location. He knows exactly what he's playing against. So, from this position, let's see how composed he can stay. He doesn't want a cannon to come down onto the high ground, even though there's one on the low ground here. Ideally, would love a probe kill. Probe, you know.
If that probe dies.
I mean, if the probe dies and can't get in, how exactly is the cannon rush going to occur? So that's what he's looking to do, because obviously there's no vision. And he slips past Butterfinger's probe, looking to plant down a structure here.
And just running around in circles now means that probes will die. Probes will die, but not Genius's probe just yet. Zealot's already out, though. He's going to try and combat this on the high ground, taking a bit of damage, but that
probe...
That Zealot's going to die. He needs to pull that back.
But the thing is the probe is going to recharge its shields here, but this cannon rush is very slow, but obviously duckdeok is taking a weird approach to deal with this.
I'm surprised he didn't bring a second probe along with him, but he's actually just transitioning. That's the best idea, I think, from here.
And if you look at the way that this is shaped up between the two players,
a lot of probes.
There's a lot of probes been lost. The probe still is still alive here. A simple cannon down would cause such a headache.
It would. It's weird this now because Genius...
A weird defense to this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Genius is actually now still kind of cannon rushing.
But Genius is like, dude, I've killed too many probes.
Yeah, there's so many dead. There's 9 already dead. He's got a lead now of 21 probes to 9. Oh my god.
The thing is that the cyber core difference is rather big. The mothership core is on its way out here, but I don't think that matters too much. Look at this, look at that. That's a better base. It looks cooler. It's got more stuff in it.
It does. It's got a lot of those cute little fishy probes.
It's got more stuff in it than his opponent. He's got more money too.
That's a very nice position to be in, Apollo, I must admit.
So, I mean, if you look at the Warp Gate research, it's even begun first here for Genius. And duckdeok with a very unusual approach to dealing with this, trying to pick off the probe. Didn't really work too well for him. He will sort to clean it, well, try to clean this out. But Genius is in prime position looking at a potential 2-0 versus the reigning champion, and the amount of pressure that's going to build from a 2-0 to have to win 3 games in a row, otherwise you are out, is enormous.
Exactly. I mean, we could see our Season 2 champion go out in the round of 8, and, well, yeah, that's not where he wants to be. He won Season 2. He wants to win a second time here in WCS Europe. But Genius is already pulling out a phenomenal series and could just go all the way. Whoa, duckdeok. This is ambitious.
Yeah, going straight over to a Stargate, but we have three gateways in total. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chrono Boost for Genius is going into the Warp Gate now because he realizes he's probably ahead.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he just used the pylon from the Cannon Rush to launch his attack.
Exactly.
To warp in on the other side of the map. He is going to get a robotics facility for safety measures here. Does not know the follow-up exactly here.
The when behind Dark Shrine mantra comes to pass.
Yeah, but, you know, when behind goes Stargate doesn't really rhyme. And
no.
I'm not too sure if it's going to work here, as the Zealot does try to get in to find out what he's playing against. And that's a good scout. That is nice. He's going to see, all right, 1 gateway, 2 gateway, Robo coming down. Maybe another gateway, I suppose.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because, like, you see that and it's like, right, I really wish... I mean, whatever I see now being this far behind in probes is gonna sting. So I guess I gotta just do it and see what's going on.
Well, Genius is gonna just poke in there and sees the Stargate. Does at the same time throw down a Nexus. So he's like, all right, well, he's not gonna attack. And to be honest, now that it looks a lot more like Genius wanted 3 gateways to be safe, and then the Robo is, you know, extra safe.
Yeah.
And from this position is in pretty good shape. As long as he defends, he's gonna have to recall here. That's obviously not the best way to spend the energy on the Mothership Core, but it's fine. It's fine. It's alive, and it will recuperate that energy it lost.
The Phoenix did a little victory dance and then flies on straight towards the base here of Genius to see what's going on a little bit further.
But from this position, if you're duckdeok, where are you exactly looking? What are you looking to do? You've got Phoenix production. You're down on probes. You've stopped probe production for the time being. You've scouted your opponent's got a Nexus. Your initial Phoenix doesn't do anything. What are you doing here? Do you try to expand to play the game from behind? Do you try to go for some form of attack? You know the Nexus is going to be done soon. You know there's going to be a phone overcharge ready. Where do you go?
Yeah, and Genius, I mean, he even has Phoenix on the way as well to actually try and combat his opponent's Phoenix numbers. So I think duckdeok has to expand. I don't think he can really break his opponent with the lack of economy that he had at the very beginning. But even an expansion play is kind of risky, right? Because your opponent has such a great economy as well.
To be honest, this is a very bad position to be in.
Yeah.
Let's be brutally honest here. Your opponent has double Nexus. He's got a lot of units now as well, as you said, the Phoenix production's beginning too. It looks like he is going to try and expand here. But the thing is, as soon as Genius knows that, all his Chrono Boost goes into the Nexus, and he increases his lead humongously. The Phoenixes are going to come in here. Phoenixes, the other ones, haven't been spotted yet. But now they are revealed.
Wanted to save his Mothership Core.
So, I don't know if you... I think you did play a lot of PvP and Wings of Liberty style. When you both go Phoenixes,
yeah,
throw down another Stargate and you go more Phoenixes.
Yes.
And I think that may be a position... Well, Genius has a couple of ways to approach this. He could go for the longer game, or he could just go and attack while his opponent's trying to catch up and get back in the game. So there's a couple of ways to deal with this.
I know some people don't really like playing Phoenix versus Phoenix, but for me, watching it, it's really, really funny to watch.
Yeah, and think about all the energy that's been wasted on killing probes here. When Genius has got units going over to kill his opponent.
You can't lift up your opponent's units.
Your opponent. So the double Stargate has kind of been initiated here for duckdeok, but I'm not too sure if he survives initially to even get there.
Well, that was another attempt at killing off one Phoenix. Not too bad, but in the process, he might lose one himself.
And another one, maybe.
Just everything he loses here is fatal.
Micro,
because right now, the army supply is 31 to 12. There you go, GG.
All right, 2 games in a row go to Genius.
Uh-oh.
And all of a sudden, the reigning champion... And we've only been casting for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
We've not been doing it long.
Almost eliminated. It is time to just breathe, sit back a little bit, and just focus. Focus.
Absolute focus.
Absolute focus is needed now to recover from this position, as Genius has so far crushed since he's been playing in Germany. 2-0, 2-0, Nurcho and 4GG. And currently 2 more games to add to that, and he's 6 games in a row here at the offline World Championships Europe Premier League, and is 1 map away from being the first semi-finalist already.
And our third map will be Belshire Vestige here between these 2 players to determine, well, I mean, Genius, if he takes this, you know, he could fly through very, very quickly. It's almost as if he's here just like, right, okay, I'm here, may as well get it over and done with as quickly as possible. In Genius fashion, we always saw him being this, you know, this aggressor who takes series very, very quickly in the past. 1 base plays, 2 base plays, and things in this PvP, no different.
He is looking very, very vulnerable here. And can he step it up? It's his, last chance. If he doesn't, he's out. He is out, and Genius would walk away with a 3-0. A massive feat here, knocking the current reigning champion out. Incredible game so far from Genius. Does he clear it up?
All right, game at number 3 now. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner. Currently 2 games down in this best of 5. If there was ever a time he needs your cheers, it's right now, guys. Give it up for MVP duckdeok. And down to the bottom right, our blue Protoss, absolutely smashing this series thus far. Can he take the 3-0 sweep? Give it up for Genius.
And I think Genius is obviously feeling very comfortable at this moment.
Yeah.
Has a lot of room for error. Can do crazy builds, can do risky builds. Can do anything he wants from this position. And then if he loses, he's like, oh, well, if that had worked, I would have just won. Never mind, I've still got a game cushion to fall back onto, even if he was to lose this game. So we could see something completely wild out of him in this next map.
You remember that little probe thing between the pylon? I figured out why they do it. Well, because I was doing it as well. It's because they get back to the mineral line quicker. It's very small, but it's actually very useful. So
look at duckdeok scouting for the wildness.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, is there proxy gateways? Is there another cannon rush? And he has to, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing of going down 2 games in a row, is you have to scout everything. You have to play very cautiously.
Yeah.
Or your opponent can play very risky, because anything can kill you and you're eliminated.
yeah, you absolutely have to play this as thoroughly as you possibly can do. Now, well, duckdeok throws down his cybernetics core. These, again, all the buildings are very, very similarly timed right now. 2 and 3 gases for duckdeok, and 3 and 3 for Genius again.
Another scout there for duckdeok on the natural with his probe. He may fall back to what he knows best and has had the most success with so far this season, is just his expansion-based play. His Stalker double century expansion play. It's been very strong. He's set himself up very nice for the majority of games. He scouted that he's not getting proxied. He may fall back on that, but he needs to fall back onto something.
I think that would probably be the best way. duckdeok showed that in the majority of his PvPs, apart from that one against Wellmu on Newkirk Precinct, that his macro game and positioning is usually extremely strong in the later stages of PvP. And if he can get there, then it'll be okay. But of course, he needs absolute thorough scouting as well.
Differences between the both is the Chrono Boost spending is into the Nexus for duckdeok and actually in the Cyber Core here for Genius. As the probe has now left the base of Genius and the Twilight Cancel immediately thrown down. We could see a Dark Shrine attempt again.
I think that might be the case. It's still a very, very stable build, and Genius in that first game did end up cancelling it because it was scouted, but still he wasn't in that massive a disadvantageous position. So, and duckdeok goes for Stargate.
Yeah, he's throwing down the Stargate inside his main base here, so it's 2 different techs going head to head. As duckdeok does take control of the Zelnog Town, misses these units on the right-hand side there, will fall back defensively because he doesn't quite know if this is 2-gate tech, it could be 3 gateways down.
There it is again. Genius, he's liking his Dark Templar, and, well, from that, we'll see how well duckdeok's going to prepare, because what is he going to do with the Stargate, and is he eventually going to get a Robo, or will he have access to that Oracle once these Dark Templar come? Well,
he's trying to look at this natural here, and he is going to see the probe duckdeok, so I think from this position, it could be very similar to game number 1, through duckdeok's eyes, remember, he doesn't really know anything. An Oracle is being made.
All right.
And that's going to be on the other side of the map, though.
Yeah.
When the Dark Shrine finishes. And there is a probe on the right-hand side here. This could be a very sad way for duckdeok to lose this game, or at least take a lot of damage initially.
It certainly could happen. It depends on how avidly he's keeping an eye on his ramp. If he has actually sentries, he doesn't have a single one just yet.
Ooh.
Oh, dear.
That's brutal, that is.
Who was it who said it? I think it was Artosis in WCS Korea. If you're going to scout thoroughly, you may as well scout every single corner of the map because you're just going to miss something, and that's exactly what's happened here.
Yeah, this is obviously not very good. The pylon's down. The Oracle's going to be on the other side. If Genius just sacrifices this natural here and just defends up his ramp inside his main base, he's got a very low army supply. He's got the Photon Overcharge here, but the DTs, there is an Oracle, a second one about to pop out though, so it's not terrible. It depends on Well, look at the timings of it, actually. The Oracle's there.
Well, yeah. He could actually just turn around, but there's not that many units.
Oh, I think
he sees it. Yeah. Well, I guess he hasn't activated Envision just yet because, well, if he has seen it, he hasn't activated it just yet because there's no units there to help him kill it, right?
Well, he's seen it now.
Yeah, he certainly has.
He's got 5 kills already, 6 kills.
Oh, dear.
7.
That
8.
in itself already pays for itself,
9.
right?
Oh, 9
That's brutal.
kills.
Run away, run away. Okay, so that's done a lot of damage already. 10 worker kills in total. That's 30 probes to 18 right now. But the army for duckdeok is okay. Can he do anything with it right now?
Not really.
I'm looking for positives here, Apollo.
Not really. A mortal being made now by Genius. He's got his Nexus down. He's going to clean up this pylon. duckdeok's obviously taking a bit of a blow here. Losing 10 probes so early on is obviously not very good for his game. Robotics facility a little bit later on here. And he is trying to recover with the Chrono Boost going in. He's, I mean, a little bit pylon block there, but then as Nexus completes, it will clear itself up.
It's also important to note that Genius deflected the other Oracle completely fine. Photon overcharge went down, the Oracle had to escape, no probe kills went down for duckdeok, and even with this dive in once again, I don't think he's going to get much done here against
There's
Genius.
3 Stalkers ready and waiting for it, so no, it's not going to get too much done inside the main mineral line. It's going to poke down to the natural, and there are 2 more Stalkers waiting for it, so no damage dealt there. Genius has thrown down Blink. From this position, we could see him move out eventually with Blink. If he follows this up with extra gateways and powers up with Stalkers, yeah, he absolutely could.
The one advantage that we see for duckdeok is the fact that his Nexus finished up much quicker than Genius's. Now, can he get that probe replenishment going? Is Chrono boosting into it?
He is trying. It's 27 to 34. But if he's spending a lot of his Chrono Boost away from tech and away from army value, then clearly Genius is going to rise up. And the Oracle now,
oh dear.
Not only did it not really do anything, it's now not going to see anything that's placed down inside Genius's base, which we are idly looking for now.
Oh, and he gets really unlucky with seeing this Observer as well. It just moves in as his opponent's Observer moves away from that location. So now Genius gets a full scout off of what his opponent's up to as well.
Yeah, here's the 3 gateways coming in, and Genius says, all right, what are you doing? And he actually saw the robotics bay there, I think,
yeah, he
with the
did.
Observer. So he now knows his opponent's on 3 gates, sees the robotics bay, can maybe predict that a Forge will come down soon. And from this position, I think Genius is just going to look for a kill.
Yeah, 3 gateways go down.
Total of 6 if he just continues to produce Stalkers here. He picks out the other Oracle in the middle of the map now, so duckdeok's completely in the dark. Chrono Boost is going into the gateways for Genius. This is it, man. This is how he's going to try and end this game. And if he claims a 3-0 and goes undefeated in the round of 16 and the round of 8,
God, man, this has been a disaster so far for duckdeok this series. This has really been an absolute train wreck, and Genius is just exploiting it to its fullest. Why not? He's doing so well.
duckdeok now goes in and sees the Twilight Council, of course, and now sees the gateways, and it's like, oh god, there's 6 gateways. And now panic time, because he needs to defend. He knows that this is most likely just going to be attack coming in. Starts to warp in units, he's got a Forge, maybe he builds cannons on the natural, he needs Immortals, he needs to put an overcharge down. There is still a glimmer of hope that he does defend this. Can he do it though? Look at the army supply, a Colossus begins, but Genius is already here.
Yeah, that Colossus is not going to be out in time. These 2 Immortals are going to have to do absolute huge amounts of work. But at the same time, Genius can just stretch his opponent left and right, left and right. He has so many Blink Stalkers, but I think he's just going to go straight for the front.
He's out of position at the moment.
Oh, dear me. There's no sentries. Well, there is 1 sentry here that could force field him off if he tries that, but he's just going to go straight for the Nexus. Actually, no, pulling back just a little bit here with that Time Warp as well to slow down the Immortals. Good Blink control here from Genius.
Oh, man, this is looking brutal. So many Stalkers here. He blinks forward. And oh boy, this looks like Genius could be going into the semi-finals.
It really does. Genius takes a massive supply lead, and he sees the Colossus now out. He could blink straight on top of it, and indeed he will do. Killing that off means the last DPS of duckdeok ends up falling down with the Stalkers falling as well. And Genius reigns supreme here in Protoss versus Protoss, round of 8. What a play from him.
Yeah, look at the APN of duckdeok. Just dropped. His hands are off the keyboard. He knows. GG. Genius. 3-0.
Wow.
Pretty fast as well.
Wow. That was... There's no other words for that other than domination. That was very impressive there by Genius. And sadly now, we have a situation where our Season 2 champion has been eliminated.
Yep, no repeating champions at all this year in the WCS Europe Premier League. His MVP was killed in Season 2 and now duckdeok in Season 3. And unfortunately for him, not going to make it to the season finals, and most importantly, maybe not even to BlizzCon. He's currently ranked 14. He finishes in 14th. And there's a lot of players that are challenging to rise the ranks, and his now position at BlizzCon is threatened, unfortunately.
Well, Genius looking to try and attain that position. You mentioned that he's 72nd right now in rankings. Before advancing to the round of 8, he was 112th. So there was big jumps there. And every round he takes, there are big jumps. It's a slight glimmer of hope for Genius, but there is the smallest chance. If he continues to perform, as he said, game by game, we could see him do good things. He could win this tournament.
He very well could do. Genius moves on to the semi-finals, will go up against the winner of Targa and MC tomorrow. And he's done for today. A very fast day for Genius.
Very impressive stuff by him. And, you know, Genius, for a lot of people coming into this tournament, he was that kind of unknown commodity, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen him for a long time. What's he been doing? What's he been up to? But it's clear that he's been playing quite a lot of StarCraft.
Yeah,
and he's still pretty good.
He's been training very hard for this. He wants to be able to win this tournament, and he's putting a good claim to that so far. Eliminating duckdeok, who, you know, won Season 2 basically around his Protoss mirror. Has looked very good in that over the last couple of months, but today was beaten out.
All right, guys. Well, we can hear from the winner advancing on to the round of 4. It is Genius.
All right. Thank you, Apollo and Caleris. I'm here with the winner of the series, 3-0 Genius. He will advance on, as they said, to play MC or Targa tomorrow. So we've got a few questions for you, but first I'd like to ask you, so in game number 1, you won with DTs, or excuse me, Void Rays, then Cannons, then DTs. So I just wanted to ask you, how does it feel to be Idra's favorite Protoss in the entire planet?
첫 번째 게임에서 보이드레이하고 그다음 캐논 먹고 또 DT로 이겼는데 이드라 선수가 제일 좋아하는 그런 풀투로 해서 이긴 거에 소감이 어떤지.
이드라가 좋아해요? 저도 개인적으로 이드라 좋아하기 때문에 좋아하면 저도 좋아요.
I really like Idra, so
I can tell.
I hope he liked it. So.
Okay, so you won 3-0 in PvP, and Grubby and I were actually talking about this, kind of joking about it, and that's that usually PvP is a lot closer. When you were facing duckdeok, duckdeok is a very good Protoss versus Protoss player. He won last season off the back of that matchup. Did you anticipate it going this way, or did you expect it to be a little bit of a closer series?
닥닥 선수가 이제 지난 시즌 우승자고 그 지난 시즌 때 PVP를 많이 해가지고 이제 풀투전을 많이 해서 우승까지 했었는데 이 정도로 3대 0으로 이길 걸 예상했었죠.
3대 0으로 이길지는 몰랐는데 프로토스 대 프로토스전이 그러니까 빌드 싸움이 굉장히 심하기 때문에 뭐 많이 하는 거랑은 상관없다고 생각해요, 저는.
So I didn't expect to win 3-0, but PvP is a bit luck-based and it comes on the build orders. So I don't think you can really much train for this matchup. So that's why I win.
Okay, very good. Now going a little bit beyond this series directly, talking about yourself as a player, I know that you're teamless, and a lot of people are asking, did you send yourself here? But also, what is it like being a teamless player in Korea? Is it harder? Do you have friends on other teams to practice with, or do you kind of rely on yourself?
지금 소속 팀이 없는데 그 소속 팀 없이 한국에서 프로게이머로서 생활한 건 어떤지, 그리고 여기 소속 팀 없이 또 WCS 유럽을 참가하게 된 건 어떤지 소감이.
일단 혼자 하는 건 상관은 없는데 일단 팀에 있을 때 지역을 바꾼 거라서 그냥 그때 다 같이 토스 유저끼리 바꾼 거라서 별로 그런 건 없어. 좀 여기 와서 좀 힘드네요.
So that's nothing different now without a team, and I actually switched to WCS Europe when I was on my old team. So that was a decision for my team, and there are no special difficulties being alone. I still practice, and the only thing that was hard was the stay here in Germany in the hotel. So nothing special yet.
Okay, thank you. Now, one last question before we let you go. Tomorrow, there's a chance that you'll play against one of your absolute best friends and favorite people on the entire planet, MC. If you were to play against MC, we always want to know, what kind of words would you like to say to him before you go into that match?
만약에 MC가 올라가지고 같이 붙게 된다면 뭐라고 하고 싶은지 MC 선수한테.
일단 민철이를 상대로 따로 빌드는 준비해 놨는데 못 올라올 것 같은데 못 올라올 것 같아요, 저는 솔직히.
I prepared for a build for MC when he comes to the next round, but actually I think he won't come to the next round. He won't be able to.
Okay, very good. Yeah, Targa should win that one. We all agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's been genius. Thank you very much. We're going to shoot over to the analysis desk with Grubby.
Hello, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming to the analysis desk. What a wipeout by Genius against duckdeok. And I just want to say that without a rule, there cannot be exceptions. Here we are, Jeff and me, talking that there's never going to be a 3-0 in PvP. Well, we didn't say never, but it's uncommon. And that makes this quite a special series for Genius. Because going into a PvP, there's so many different strategies that can happen. So you usually make a plan, map 1, map 2, map 3. What are you going to do? How does it flow? How does the build that you do in game 1 strengthen the build that you're going to do in game 2? And so forth into game 3. There's a lot of mind games going on, hashtag mind games. And besides the fact what build orders you do, it's also very much like your standard mechanics, fundamentals, just adapting to situations. And we saw a lot of that. Now, I've asked to bring up game 1 here of duckdeok against Genius because there were a few things that happened which made this game rather special. Let's take a look at the beginning. Units lost tap of Genius against duckdeok. 4 probes and a sentry for Mothership Core. Mothership Core rushed, scouted the whole base of Genius, saw the early Twilight Council, killed 4 probes and a sentry. Really, really good trade. Then duckdeok expanded, as did Genius. And they kind of went into the mid game. The losses that Genius had kind of evened out, but then the second fateful thing happened, and he went for a 6-gate Archon bust with a proxy Templar Archives. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised, or should I say disappointed, that Genius didn't upgrade Psy Storm at this Templar Archives. But it's okay. Very unusual spot. It's funny though, because it didn't get scouted. Now, what did get scouted, if we take a look at Genius's vision, is the Robotics Bay. The Robo Bay, if we take a look at Genius Vision in duckdeok's base, the Robo Bay right here, it got scouted. So he knew the opponents on Colossi. Now it is pretty common strategy to go for an Archon Zealot all-in ever since Wings of Liberty days against Colossi, but it's very map dependent. And if we take a look at how duckdeok utilizes the map advantage, he was unbreakable. Normally, I cast this game, I'm going to say duckdeok is going to win this. Genius, he doesn't have a forge. duckdeok is working on a forge. duckdeok has several tech, Colossus and Templar of Twilight Council coming up. Genius, no forge, just Archons, couldn't break. And Genius has less probes as well. So I really don't know how it happened, but then we speed up the replay a little bit. And Genius is like, well, I can't break. Maybe 4 times speed. Genius can't break. Goes back, makes 2 Stargates, right? Starts making Void Rays. And I just like to take a look at duckdeok's vision because it all comes down to scouting. He is ahead in pretty much every imaginable way that you could be ahead in a game, except maybe information. So look at duckdeok's vision. How often does he hallucinate Phoenix Scout? Genius. So far not. So he doesn't know that the Void Rays are coming yet. We saw one game actually, duckdeok against Welmu, where duckdeok had Mass Void Ray on Newkirk City, and this was in Season 2. And Welmu had +3 attack upgraded Archons, and he just crushed duckdeok's army. But in this game, some way, it didn't work. And if you look at duckdeok's army, the way it's developing, he's still making Immortals. Now, Welmu also showed that you shouldn't be making Immortals against someone who isn't going for Colossi or Blink Stalkers. The units tab right now shows that duckdeok already has 2 Immortals. He keeps making Zealots, keeps making Colossi, none of which is really very well suited with Archon Void Ray composition. So in the end, you get that really weird last fight where Genius attacks with +1 attack upgrade on ground against +3, and upgrades are really huge in PvP, and he just kind of wins. Very strange. And it looks like duckdeok got completely blindsided by this. If he had known that there were Void Rays, he would have made more Archons, maybe Blink, maybe more Stalkers, and especially probably Psystorm. And then Genius just rides this momentum wave, I would say all the way into Game 3, because I thought he had no right to win this game, but as I said before the series, he has really good decision-making process. And those double Stargate Void Rays, I thought he's going to maybe go for Tempest, but it would have changed the game. Tempest would kill the Colossi, but he would not be able to kill duckdeok's ground army with +3 attack. There would be no way. This Void Race is what made him win the game, and I feel like it gave him the advantage in the mind games and in the momentum of the series. Game 2 was a cannon rush. Game 3 was advantage with DT and then an all-in after that from 2 base. But this game, really nice comeback by Genius, great decision-making, and what a fantastic performance to start things off with. This was my very long analysis. Thanks for listening and watching, and now we'll go to the next segment with Jeff in Control Robinson.
All right, thank you, Grubby, for that wonderful analysis. I'm here at the social media desk with this kid, and he's not going to say anything for a little while, but I'll point at him and start jabbing words in his direction. He'll start talking in a second. You guys can tweet at us all weekend long. In fact, it's not only that you can, it's something we encourage. You'll do this, please. Hashtag WCS. We want to blow that up and share this awesome thing with the rest of the universe. But also you can follow ESL TV on Twitter. They only have like 13 people following them right now. If they hit 20, I'm told that Carmack will shave his head. Wait, he already did that. We can't do that anymore. But it's the idea that does count. So make sure and do that. We also have a contest going on all weekend long, and that is that if you submit StarCraft 2 related fan art, hashtag WCS. Actually, it's hashtag. I think it's like that. Is it like that?
Exactly. You nailed
it. You got skinnier fingers. Can you show us? Hashtag, just like that. If you submit that to us, you can actually win a collector's edition, undropped StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, signed by all the players and commentators here. So it should
got no signatures on it, mate.
That one's just the model one. That was in case Red Eye did show up and slammed it on the ground. We have the real one over there. It's going to be, it's a great prize. It's really cool. Also, we've got a little bit of a word from our sponsors. Apollo.
That's right. Of course, Roccat being the sponsor of the World Championship Series here in Europe, they're willing to give away some stuff as well at this tournament. All you've got to do is actually jump to the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Roccat, which is spelled ROCCAT. And as you can see right there, Damarga's got a gift for you. He's got a keyboard he wants to give away. So all you got to do is like the page, go comment on this post, and just predict who you think is going to win the entire of the Europe Premier League this weekend.
All right, so lots of cool stuff coming your way. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. We're going to take a quick commercial break while we set up that next match. So don't go anywhere. It should just be a few moments. We'll see you guys soon.
I'm here in the Rocket Studio. I want to tell you why Cone Pure Optical is a very good mouse for gaming StarCraft. First of all, there's a Rocket Achievement display. You track all your clicks and you see everything you do with your mouse. At the end of day, at the end of year, at the end of like few months, you can see all your statistics. So like, for example, me, I run already like near 20 kilometers with my mouse.